Why do you call customers guests and not customers? And I just want the audience to know this because it's really important.
Sure. I mean, I got into a fight with Pete Wells over this. I trolled him on Instagram about it, and then he wrote in the New York Times about it, which I think my specific comment was maybe the Times should get with the times and understand that language hurts or helps our industry, something along the lines of that.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Line Check podcast. Today I'm in the studio with Mackenzie Hoffman, owner of Stir Crazy.
Co-owner,
Co-owner,
Yeah.
yes, with
Macklin,
yes.
Harley.
Yeah, Macklin's apple juice.
So yummy,
Yeah.
so special.
What's the name of the brand again?
Lovely Bunch.
Okay, so if you ever find Lovely Bench
Hell yeah.
apple juice, I highly recommend you go buy it because it's one of the best things that you'll put in your mouth.
I like to joke that I signed a non-compete so I don't have to even taste or give anyone else the time of day because it's the perfect non-alcoholic option. And he just made a sparkling, which is really cool as well.
Yummy. So
yummy.
Definitely we'll be buying that on New Year's Eve.
Sure.
For me, if I don't want to do.
Yeah. We serve it in a wine glass too.
Martinelli's.
It's so fun. It's delicious. And it even kind of looks like Martinelli's too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How was your day today?
It was so good. I think I luxuriated in the morning, and then I got a small taste of Long Beach, and I honestly can't wait to come back.
What's luxuriating for you in the morning?
No phone, no computer, just coffee, outside, pajamas, reading, slow.
Sounds nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I'm getting used to the shift of not being in a restaurant all the time and more so planning the podcast and planning events with Sasha and just like a lot of communication, which is basically going on right now.
Oh yeah.
So sometimes recently I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's a good time to like do laptop work and going into like a coffee shop and doing that, but also like trying to put my phone away.
Yes.
And not look at it or have to like respond to every single DM or.
Absolutely. I limit screen time. I'm pretty good at it. I have good boundaries. At least like 2 hours in the morning is therapeutic, healthy, starts the day right. It puts me in a good headspace and clears away any stress or intimidation I might feel going on with the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. And I think I'm doing a good job.
Good.
Reading a lot of books, reading fiction, which I never allowed myself to read. Like in my 20s, I was like only nonfiction.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted facts and nothing else. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, tell me a story.
What kind of fiction are you reading right now?
Anything. I'm reading a book, Bewilderment by Richard Powers, which is really dreamy. It's about a relationship between a son and a father after the loss of the wife and the mom. And then simultaneously, I'm reading Falling Man. It's Don DeLillo, I think that's his name, that did White Noise.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about post 9/11 New York kind of historical fiction. So anything that takes me out of my current day-to-day has been really special.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Love to hear that.
Funny thing is that in both of the books, there's like not a lot of eating. And I'm like, I wonder how these characters are subsisting because they're not eating or drinking anything. That's really interesting.
In fiction, they don't have to, I guess.
Yeah, there's no kitchens. There's no consumption
just
going on.
White empty room.
Yeah.
That's supposed to have a kitchen.
Yeah, and then I came down to Long Beach and went to Manger Bouvant and then Bamboo Club.
Nice.
It was sick.
Little cap.
Hell yeah. The bar culture down here is so special. I crave it in LA, and I think Long Beach is far superior.
Wow.
Yeah, of the like small bits and pieces I've consumed. Sasha took me to the Hawk also.
I love that bar.
Yeah, it was fun. Just like no nonsense, delicious. You kind of time travel. Like I love spaces when you walk in and you don't really know what year it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, You could be playing pool in 1989, 1999, 2019. You have no idea.
I love that.
So
That's a
fun.
good way to think about it.
Yeah, I
Uh,
love it. That's kind of like the way we want Stir Crazy to be. You walk in and you don't really know what time it is, what day of the week it is, maybe what country you're in, kind of. Just takes away everything.
I like that.
Yeah.
I felt that when I was there for my
Fun.
birthday.
Yeah.
Was it my birthday?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, you came for a little nightcap
Yeah.
dessert. You'll have to come
Little
back for
aperitif
dinner.
after post dinner.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
delicious.
Yeah,
I
you have to come back.
really like the desserts. Yeah, and then the space used to be like, because I went with my friend, and she grew up in that area, and she said she used to go there like after her school and when she was in high school.
Yes.
And hang out, and she's like, whoa, it's so crazy to like be in this space, but like a different space.
Yeah, the terroir of that space is very particular. It has a lot of secrets and history, which is really special. Obviously, the name carries through many decades, I think starting in like the early 90s maybe. That's when the former owner opened it as Stir Crazy, kind of a central perk in Friends sort of sticky coffee shop vibes, where I've heard stories ranging from like chain smoking inside to free coffee refills to writing scripts to just shooting the shit with the owner. And it was a special place, and now it's just a different version of hopefully kind of the same community spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the space, and in my head you have a lot of paintings up.
Yeah, you walk in and, you know, if you want to call it wine bar, wine restaurant, cafe, whatever, there's quite literally no bar, which is interesting. So it's all low tables, all low tops. There's not really a space where you can post stuff at a bar, but that's the dreaminess of it as well. So a bunch of 2 tops and 4 tops, flanking the small room. It's only 500 square feet. And then on the walls, yeah, it's like it's circulating art posters and collected art that like might change here and there. Had you ever gone to like a college coffee house and you have like
It's exactly what I'm trying.
questionable
I'm
art
like
on the
getting
and they like might be selling it or whatever for a funny price. So it kind of alludes to that spirit of who are the people that are creating these works of art on the walls, and then it's like a living, breathing space in a way. And the decoration is certainly memorable, but the fact that you don't actually remember what you saw is actually dreamy to me.
But I did like the artwork.
You felt
I also
a
like the
certain way.
bathroom.
Yeah, the bathroom
I remember the bathroom too.
Yeah, the bathroom is fun. It's a hodgepodge of art posters from recently or years ago.
But also, isn't the door open on the other side? Or is that just in my head that I'm thinking that right now? Like the door is like you don't open it from the left side, you open it.
You open it from the left side. It's just a push.
Yes.
It's funny because the facade is painted the same color as the wall, so it's kind of this private portal.
Exactly. That's what I was like thinking. There's something like confusing about it, which is special. And I think me and Sasha always talk about, if we have our own space, that we like a bathroom that feels like themed in a way.
Okay.
I don't know, because it's always nice to go to the bathroom and then you're like you said transported to like a different, like I'm not just going to the bathroom. I'm like going to the bathroom and like looking around.
Yeah, it's an often overlooked space where people try to just check the health code boxes off and feel a lot of pressure in doing so. But to overlook it as a space that can be designed is, I recommend not doing that. I also have about 20 cases of wine inside the bathroom at any given point. So I like the fact that you're kind of coming into my cellar of sorts, or you're coming into like our private storage room, you know, like a no nonsense, hey, we're 500 square feet and we have hundreds of SKUs of wine. Like, You want to know where it is? It's in the bathroom. So
If
it's
you
really
want,
fun.
if you're out and you need another bottle, there, that's also where it is. Yeah.
Shopping. I kind of like sometimes put the like the really heady, fun wines that I'm kind of like cellaring or sitting on at the very bottom of a huge stack, so that if it's kind of a if you know you know moment, you're sitting down, you like look around like, oh my god, like that was 3 vintages ago. When is that coming on the wine list? I don't know. I don't think anybody notices, but it's my little Easter egg.
That's cool. I
Yeah.
love Easter eggs.
Me too.
So why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and how you got into the industry and
Okay.
what sparked your reason for wanting to open a space?
Holy smokes. I have always loved food, hosting, nutrition, every part of culture, and always like using food and wine as a lens to learn more, traveling, history, war, economy, politics, whatever. Like it always was brought back to food. So I went to NYU and studied food studies, public health and nutrition, and art history as well. So having a food studies major and then also simultaneously dabbling in like the health space, the public health space, and then the agriculture space, and then also art space where you learn history, you learn culture, you learn geography, all that good stuff. It was always there from the start. Restaurants, you know, you're living in New York City, you want to have fun, you want to make money, you work in restaurants. So started working in restaurants when I was a freshman in college, 17, and then um, all of the all of the experience kind of just snowballed. Started off working, you know, really funny, fun jobs. Pastry commissary cook, many like a host at many different restaurants. Shabu shabu, a club restaurant, um, a bakery, uh, you know, so many different places. And then I started working my way up, you know, serving, and then finding that hospitality was something that really turned me on. Um, and then simultaneously being really, really interested in wine. And the places that I was working that were focusing on hospitality, they didn't really give me a chance to be super nerdy about food or beverage. So then the pendulum started swinging to smaller restaurants that were extremely focused on like more chef driven spots with more dialed in wine lists. And that's when the nerd in me just like started roaring. And then moved to LA for a pretty ambitious project for somebody else. COVID happened. And I don't have that big story of like planning and then executing a vision. It just boom, 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 something, 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 life happened, and then now we're open. And I can be specific about certain points of it, but yeah, lots of New York experience, and then reached kind of a ceiling, if you will, and pushed myself off a cliff to move to a different place and found myself here in LA. Super special. At first, I thought I was imposing on a community that I wasn't a part of, but then I realized, no, I need to like contribute to the community I'm trying to create. And now I feel right at home.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's good to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Building community is important, and it's always good when you have someone coming from a different place or wherever they're from and coming to a new city, and then they have something to offer. And I think a lot of times other people don't think that they have anything to offer when they feel like they haven't been here too long.
Sure.
It's like, but you also have a different experience from everybody else, and maybe you're giving someone something fresh they haven't had before.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I for sure thought that I was imposing. And it was hard to be here at first. I moved here in 2019, and felt so full in my job in New York. And, everyone has their like COVID trauma story, but it really wasn't until I was living here for about 3 years that I felt like it was home, which was really special.
That's good.
When it clicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just blanked out. I was gonna ask you a question, and then like a white slate came in. When did you get into, like, when you got into wine? Was that when you started working at like the chef-driven restaurants, or were you already into wine before that?
Yeah, I was working in my early 20s. I worked for Danny Meyer, and that hospitality group is exactly that, hospitality group. And when people think of that group, they think of him as a restaurateur. They think of the ethos behind the hospitality, and generally, you don't think of the wine director. Granted, there were master somms as his wine partners, and Michelin starred chefs as his chefs, but it was really the hospitality. And one day, I'll never forget, this somm at a restaurant I opened as a server decanted a bottle of champagne, meaning they poured the champagne into a decanter. And I was like, what is that chemistry? What is going on? And that was like one of the special moments. Seems really, really small, but right there, it just like broke a rule. And I was like, what rule is like, is that a rule? Is that being broken? What's happening right now? And then I shifted to working at like a small prefix restaurant, and then went to like a really, really natural wine focused restaurant, former being Contra, latter being Four Horsemen. Those were really important. And that's when wine became like a character. And that's when wine was something that, like, honestly changed my life. And I was able to learn science, chemistry, history, agriculture, politics, climate change, like everything kind of spun in this wild tornado from there. And then hospitality, I kind of like made my own version of hospitality in knowing about wine and focusing on natural wine. Used it as like a tool to give people my version of hospitality. And that's kind of where Stir Crazy exists. It's a really special wine place, but at the end of the day, I want guests to be there because they want to feel a certain way being good when they're there.
Yeah, hospitality is something great and is lacking, and I'm not gonna say every restaurant, but in some restaurants that you go to, and when you really get a special experience because the hospitality was so good, that's how you know they really care about their job or they care about the business.
Totally.
And I just want to know what hospitality means to you.
I knew you were going to ask me this. Oh my gosh, it's such a
everyone has
question.
Different versions of hospitality.
Yeah.
And I think you do a really good job with your hospitality, and it'd be good for the audience to know.
Yeah. Oh man, I get shivers. So hospitality takes courage. Sometimes it's hard, it's at the end of the day, it's kind of like manipulation in a certain way, and you kind of have to be a psychologist in many ways as well. So the way that I approach it is maybe focusing on two tools. One is empathy, meaning have graciousness that the guests are in your house. They chose to come to your space, eat with you. They chose you. They chose to spend the night with you. That's so cool. Be empathetic. They could have a shit day. They could be overwhelmed by the experience. Like, going out to dinner is so scary these days. Oh my gosh, like, there's 4 hosts looking at me and I just walked in the door. It's nice to meet you guys, I guess. It's so intimidating. So have empathy and treat guests, with kindness. And then the other thing is knowledge. Like, I think knowledge is something that is overlooked. Like, know your shit and be a nerd and figure out what you like and be a pro at it, whether it be wine or food, cooking, tea, like fermentation, sake, like whatever. Be a pro. So when you're empathetic, the guest trusts you. And when you know your stuff and you can answer all the questions and you can lead them to the answers that of the questions that they're asking, then they trust you. So now you have guests that trust you. What are you going to do? You're going to dom them. The cliche of like the customer is always right. I think you can turn that on its head, and now the guest is kind of the subservient and you're the dom, and you can kind of take them on your ride and like be Aladdin and say, "Come on my magic carpet ride." And then they'll fall in love with you.
Or you can say Steppenwolf. The song. Just kidding. That's what I was thinking about for some reason.
So it starts with empathy. Have a lot of knowledge of like what you're serving, what space you want to create, build trust in your guest, and then give them the experience that you want to give them. And I don't see why they wouldn't want to come back for more and more, and then tell everyone they know that you like changed the way that they thought about going out to eat, and like the rules that you broke were exciting to them rather than like sticking to a certain mold. That's fun to me, telling people what to do, but in an empathetic way.
Yeah, I mean, Sasha worked with you a long time ago, and I mean, it's not that long ago, but I hear a lot of the similarities in the way she serves and is hospitable to guests, and I'm like hearing that exactly from the way of what you're telling me. And I wholeheartedly 100% agree with you on that style. It's you're giving people something that they don't know what they want yet, and you're the one delivering it to them.
Totally. It's so like I said, it's intimidating, whether it be you are using, like La Cita, for example, and hearing another language being spoke, like walking into a Filipino restaurant or walking into a Korean restaurant and reading these words that are actually not in English. It's kind of intimidating. So showing guests what they need, like people don't know what basic ingredients are. They need to be like truly taught. Be the pro, right? If you're going to serve an anesthesiologist, what do you know about anesthesia?
Exactly.
And what do they know about fermentation? Show off. You're the pro in this situation. You're the master of your own domain. Like, have some like pride and also humility, and be able to get them on over to your house and blow their fucking minds. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Be the cool kid in the room.
How do you deal with a difficult customer or guest? I know I always try to correct myself on that.
Dealing with a difficult guest. Well, I have to be honest with you. I have a really amazing team now, and I love to give them the opportunity of guest facing. So I try not to guest face a ton anymore, to be honest with you. It's kind of like passing the baton of now I'm trying to be a leader, and I'm not trying to necessarily like be on the floor so much, because being on the floor is fun, and I want my team to be able to like serve people, curate their experiences, pop whatever bottles they want. So dealing with difficult guests, I always think that you should, again, have empathy, but also have pride and self-respect. Like, there are some people who will disrespect you, and I don't think that you should swallow it in a way that you have lost a sense of self. So I think remaining present is like the number one thing to do. Don't run away. Even if you made a mistake too, don't run away. Be present. And also ask them what they need to solve whatever problem they might have.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you like go slow and have patience with yourself solving their problem and also have patience with them and kind of throw it back at them and say, what do you need right now? It's kind of like when you're fighting with your lover.
Yeah. Slow down.
Slow down.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
tell myself that all the time.
Yeah, slow down.
Take.
And some guests, you know, they they don't want their problems to be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
That's always something to remember. But fortunately, um fortunately, I think at Stir Crazy we create an environment where we love to be there. The team loves to be there. The team loves each other. I love them. And ultimately, the guests, I think, feel that. And they're like, dang, you're having a really good time right now. I want to have a really good time right now. There's no bad energy for a bad guest to fuel themselves, which I think is an underrated tool, is like happiness fuels happiness. It might seem really romantic, but I do believe that.
No, I agree with you.
Okay.
It's like the same thing. If you have people in the kitchen that love what they're cooking, the food's going to come out 100% better than it would if someone was really mad in cooking.
Totally. You can taste it.
It's the energy it's spitting
The wine
out.
feels it too, man. I never open a special bottle when I'm mad. I try not to drink wine when I'm having like an emotional roller coaster of a day, because I mean your taste buds chemically change, but I truly think that like if you're in a bad mood, it's really hard to enjoy whatever consumption experience you're gonna have. It's tough.
Yeah, because your mind tricks you.
Hell yeah.
It's playing games on you. It's like, I don't want this to taste good.
I know.
I already know what you're kind of going to say about this, but why do you call customers guests and not customers? And I just want the audience to know this because it's really important.
Sure. I mean, I got into a fight with Pete Wells over this. I like trolled him on Instagram about it, and then he wrote in the New York Times about it, which I think my specific comment was maybe the Times should get with the times and understand that language hurts or helps our industry, something along the lines of that. Goes back to, I think it goes back to the pride, like customer equals transaction and guest equals providing an experience. So customer, oh my God, I like shudder if I even say that word. It just does not translate anything that I'm trying to do. It's only thinking and alluding to the transaction and the money and the this for that sort of thing. And guest transcends the experience. Like if you're a customer, you walk out of the restaurant or cafe, coffee shop, and the experience is over. It ends when you pay and it ends when you walk out the door. But if you're a guest and you returning, it's like it transcends that, and it really is just like a repeat experience. It's not a coffee shop that you go to once in a while. You're a guest at this space that's actually your home, and it's part of your ritual of everyday life, and you're a guest in their house.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was going to say, what do you call a person that spends the night at your house? A guest. So you treat them like guests.
Yeah. And quite literally, Stir Crazy is now our house. So it's it's just the number one tool is language. Just like it's a non-starter for me. I'll always correct people if they use the C word.
I'm trying. I always do what Sasha does it to me. So I always say guess. I tried to say guess, and then I'll correct myself if I say the C word.
Yeah, the C word. Slowly but surely. I think language is like such a good tool. Oh my gosh, such a good tool. Even with education, like I was thinking about you and your knowledge of wine and how you want to learn more about wine, and I think if you change wine language into cooking language, you'd be like it would just click so much better. Like language is such a fun tool to teach people, empathetically manipulate people, coach people, receive people. It's a wonderful thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, when I was like a chef, like in different spaces or a sous chef, I would love teaching cooks new things, and I always use metaphors
Mm-hmm.
for something they might relate to or they've done in their past. That I can be like, okay, maybe like this person used to play. Maybe you played baseball before. You maybe
Yeah.
swung a bat.
Yeah.
So probably like stirring this pot is maybe like turning your arm in this motion.
Yes.
I don't know,
Yes.
but like
Yes.
in some kind of way like that where I make
Yes.
it fun and relatable to life experiences
Mm-hmm.
is the same way as like cooking, or in your instance like anything you're teaching someone
Yeah.
about natural wine.
I love to ask people during interviews if they ever played sports growing up, because I feel like sports metaphors, I use basketball metaphors liberally. It's really fun.
Like what?
Oh man, there's so many.
I'd catch on very quick.
Well, you were talking about dealing with a difficult guest. What
Mm-hmm.
is that? That's defense,
Yeah.
and offense is the best defense,
Mm-hmm.
meaning like you can't wait for the negative guest to score on you, dunk on you. You need to defend. You need to anticipate the pass,
Mm-hmm.
anticipate the shot, block, like
Mm-hmm.
all of those things. I use the term follow through a lot, meaning if you're shooting that three and you kind of pause at the release
Mm-hmm.
and you don't follow
It's not
through,
gonna go in.
it's the difference between like a swish and it bouncing around the rim and then ultimately going out. That's kind of the same where like you half-ass a job, where if service ends at 11 and you didn't follow through to 11 and you kind of like stop short at
Mm-hmm.
10:30, you're not following through on your job, and nothing's going to get done efficiently if you don't follow through. What's another one? I mean, there's so many.
Who's the greatest 3-point shooter to live? Steph Curry. And why? Because he follows through. Literally every shot he follows through.
Yeah,
He even
splish
he even
splash.
probably walks away. He walks away and
Yeah.
does it. So
Yeah.
you know
yeah.
what I mean? That's why
Exactly.
follow through.
Yeah. Yeah, I think sports is and specifically team sports, because the fun thing about restaurants is it's not like playing golf or tennis or
Running.
bowling or running. Yeah, it's really, really like basketball. It's like
It's communication.
It's communication. It's a 3-man weave.
Mhm.
It's soccer. It's like it's all of these team sports. The court is the floor. The court is your line. Like even you can use this metaphor in the kitchen too.
I've used it
oh
a
my
lot.
gosh,
It's like
so
a team sport.
magical. Yeah.
Because you're talking to each other. I mean, people would always say you're battling against the tickets. I don't like to do that anymore because you're not battling. We're trying to send out nice food. It's not a battle. But,
Yeah.
we're all communicating. We're all assisting each other. We're all doing these good things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
That's the follow through too. Like back of house, front of house. It's it really needs to not just be a front court, back court sort of game.
Exactly.
You really need to.
We're all one
Yeah.
symbiotic relationship.
Baseline to baseline,
we're all
baby.
on the same team.
All same team.
Well, it was really good to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Everyone definitely go check out Stir Crazy if you haven't been there already. Yes. Say hello to Mackenzie.
Yes, please.
Say hello to Macklin. Say hello to Caroline too.
Hell yeah. Caroline's kicking ass
there.
in the kitchen. Yep.
Yeah, check it out. Tell them Brennan sent you. And that was it. And that's your line check for today.
Hell yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.